Yo, this is Mike, Ringmaster of the Imagination Circus, and I'm here for another episode of Why I Ship It. This time, we're focusing on something a little bit more nostalgic for me and many others, and one that goes back to my childhood, and that is Pokéshipping, aka the ship between one Misty. Well, in fan fiction, the last name they tend to give her is Waterflower, so let's go with that. Misty Waterflower and Ash. Although, to be fair, someone in a YouTube video I watched once, someone made a joke about them calling themselves the Sensational Sisters.
We're the Sensational Sisters.
The emphasis on sensational sounds wrong. Either that's their surname, or they're the Sensational Sisters.
I'm the fourth Sensational Sister.
Is that actually their surname? Is she actually Misty Sensational?
The number of characters other than Ash in the anime who get last names is really, or at least main characters that get last names. Gary is an obvious example, you know. Then there's Professor Oak. At least we know his first name is actually Samuel. Everybody else just called Professor Oak, but he's Samuel. Or Sammy, depending on if you've seen the fourth movie or not. But the point is, when it comes to these two, I'm talking about last names for some reason, but when it comes to these two are a classic from my childhood. I rewatched everything through the Indigo Plateau saga, and, you know, there's stuff through the Orange Islands, obviously. You know, stuff like that. I rewatched a lot of that, and pretty much all the stuff with Misty and Ash. And I gotta tell you, they, of course, have a lot of actual ship moments. Some that are exclusive to the sub, and some are exclusive to the dub. But because I mostly, if not exclusively, remember the dub, I'm going to talk about that specifically and all of that. So in this case, you know, when it comes to them, like, if I had to choose a specific reason why it's so easy to ship Ash and Misty, it's because they're 10 in some depictions. Misty's like 11, but they're young. And so because of that, they still treat each other with this mentality of almost, you know, like, Misty likes romance, but she's not super into it. And as far as with her, when it comes to Ash, she clearly had an actual crush on Ash. In fact, that's one of the few, this is one of those few cases when it comes to the ships on this show where there are clear indication that one of the people involved actually has some sort of romantic interest in the other. You know, Misty makes a bunch of comments.
Wow, imagine Brock married?
You and I will be married someday too.
Mm-hmm.
As you do when it comes to Ash. And Ash, despite, like, you know, like, being his bratty self, really only ever showing interest in one girl throughout the entire series, and maybe something of a reaction during the second movie. Again, you know, it's debatable in that case, but regardless, he's never, because he's so focused on his own goals, and because he is a guy who's 10 years old, whether or not he's even gone through puberty yet is, I mean, has he? It's possible, but I'm going to lean towards no. And because of that, he's not super interested in girls yet. He's focused on his goal, his life goal of becoming a Pokemon master, traveling around, catching as many Pokemon and training them and getting as many badges and winning tournaments, or getting as far in tournaments as he possibly can. And Ash has accomplished a lot. He has not had any, and because of that, he has not had any room for romance. He's almost like, he's technically, even though it's based on a video game more and not a manga, you know, the Pokemon anime is almost stereotypical shonen in a lot of ways, you know, like, down to Ash having a decent appetite, a decently large appetite, and not focusing on romance, because that's something a lot of shonen protagonists just don't do. Like even Goku, who did get married, Goku never showed an interest in Chi-Chi, really. He just agreed to marry her without really knowing what the hell marriage is. I love Goku as a character, but he is dumb. I'm getting on a huge tangent here. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is this. Like, when it comes to Misty and Ash, and the reason that these two work as a couple is because they bicker so ferociously, almost like an old married couple. They're kind of a couple that makes you feel like they could work because they do have a chemistry. Because when they fight, they really dig into each other in a way that a lot of married couples do. And when married couples fight, I think, at least in the case when they do actually care about each other, it's because at this point, they know their partner's flaws. And when it comes to their partner's flaws, they're so comfortable with them that they are more than willing to dig into them and really, really cut them where it hurts. because they know that it's okay, because their partner will do the same to them. And I think, and it helps them grow. I think when two married people really care about, when two people love each other, period, the way that we're talking about in this video, I think they can get into a fight and come out of it stronger. I'm not saying fighting is good in general. I'm just saying you might as well strengthen the relationship as a whole because of your argument. Regardless, I feel like that's something that Misty and Ash have going for them. And when they do work together, or when they are on each other's side, they've got it. This moment from the second movie, again, going back to the second movie, this scene really emphasizes it.
And Ash is never really alone because he's got me.
Like, come on! Her crush on Ash is one thing, but that was like, I know, I don't remember if the sub had that specifically as well, but like, that was so blatant. Like, what were you doing, 4Kids? I know you screwed up some things. I wasn't totally against everything you did for Yu-Gi-Oh! as a series when it came to that dub either, except for the part about censoring all the guns, because there was a lot of guns. But regardless, wow, like, why are you making it so blatant? Regardless. Going forward with, like, Ash's other companions, just as an example, his other female companions, or even his male ones, I have never seen a chemistry when it comes to his character that was as strong with, as strong as it was with Misty. When it comes to those two, I could genuinely feel something. Not so with any of his other companions, except maybe Brock, and in that case it was less romantic and more of a almost big brother relationship. Like, it's clear that outside of Gary, he didn't have a lot of other friends, if you could call Gary a friend, before everything they went through on their journeys, because otherwise they were just rivals. But with Brock, he almost had a big brother who he could, like, having another guy around. It's something he needed. Hell, Misty followed him. Yeah, it was because her bike was busted, or at least that's the excuse she gave, but let's be honest, she was really following him because she was kind of into Ash. Why, and again, in a world where you can just let your 10-year-old go out on a journey to find and catch dangerous, magical pocket monsters, I've got to tell you, a girl following another guy around at 10 years old because she kind of finds him attractive, okay, fine, I'm not going to argue against it. I'm just saying, like, come on. Like, I don't know. Those two just always, like, their chemistry was always there. And there are they have their sweeter moments. And there are even some episodes where it, like, seems like they could actually, I don't remember, this is not one of the ones I rewatched, but there was one in particular. I don't think it was in the Orange Islands. It might have been in the Orange Islands, but it was, because, like I said, I rewatched it fairly recently, but I did, like I said, it was still a couple of months ago. Give me a break. There was one episode in particular where Ash, like, has to fight a particular gym leader in somewhere, whether it was the Orange Islands or whatever, I don't remember, but he has to battle this individual, and this person is romantically interested in Misty, and even asked Misty to stick around and help take care of his little sister, and it's a whole big deal. And like his romantic interest in Misty is super blatant. And even discounting that, I don't remember. I think Ash might have even gotten a little bit jealous. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I watched that episode. But going into that situation, he ignores, like she ends up choosing Ash in the end, and it almost, like, strengthens their relationship, and it almost makes it, like, come on. I would love to talk about that episode more, but for love of God, I can't remember the whole thing. And when it comes to, like, Ash and Misty as a future couple, the scenario I've always envisioned has just been, like, they've got great chemistry. So what if, after a certain period of time, Misty is available again, and comes to maybe travel with Ash a little bit more before they finally settle down, and I do think they'll settle down. Maybe even if Ash finally does become champion of, say, he, like, goes for the Indigo Plateau again, maybe he, finally becomes champion. And again, people make fun of him, but the truth is, Ash doesn't really do that badly. He comes really close in most of his, in most of the tournaments he's in. Like, yeah, he has not won yet. Like, he's not become top outside of the Orange Islands, obviously. But the dude is not bad by any means. He just, like, you know, he just has had a string of bad luck. I mean, the writers literally had to have him fight an entire team made up of legendaries just to have him lose. That's how good he got. They had to come up with a dumb reason for him to lose. Duh! The point I'm trying to make is, Ash, like, imagine a scenario where these two, like, you know, maybe he finally wins, and he finally maybe even defeats the, you know, again, I'm sorry, it's my brain, I'm trying to remember what, is it the Legendary Four? No, I don't think that's right. The Final Four, so I'm gonna put the term, I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of games. It doesn't come up really all that much in the anime. I'm gonna put the term here. Oh, Elite Four. It took me way too long to try and remember what the hell the Elite Four. Maybe he goes to be the Elite Four. He becomes the new champion. He's at the top of his game. What does he do? Maybe he settles down. He opens, a gym in Kanto, and him and Misty help out. His mother, you know, maybe Misty, like, helps out at the gym. They could become the battling couple. Has there ever been a gym run by a couple before? Like, like I said, Pokemon is not super, I love Pokemon, I'm gonna go see Detective Pikachu, but it's not one of my big things, so I don't really know. Has there ever been a gym run by a couple before? Because if there hasn't, they could this could be their thing. They could be the battling, the Pokemon champion, the water champion, and like Misty already has experience, so it'd be great, you know? This is the kind of scenario I can imagine up with for them. It would be fantastic, you know? Like, come on, tell me that doesn't sound great. Tell me. I think that would be fantastic. I think that would be an awesome situation for the anime to end on, for them to finally reunite, and for something like this to play out. I think it would be great. At this point, I'm just spouting fan fiction, but that's okay. Shipping finds most of its roots in fan fiction, so it's okay. Am I right, or am I right? More than even any of these reasons for them to have an actual relationship, if I were to really say why I ship them, it's probably more due to nostalgia than anything else. I grew up watching the Pokemon anime. It's one of the first anime I even watched before I knew what anime even was. I enjoyed it. I never got into the games or the cards or whatever, but the anime really pulled me in, and I really enjoyed it. And I watched it for quite a while, long past the unfortunate point where Brock and Misty had to leave. But looking back on it, I think it is, in this case, the nostalgia more than anything else that keeps me shipping these two, and I will ship them until my body has turned to dust in the ground. Thank you, and I think I've made my point. This is Mike, Ringmaster of the Imagination Circus. Again, not the strongest reasoning, but I could do worse. Anyway, if you feel so inclined, please come back for more. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. And good day to you. Thank you. Come again.